I know no better way of determining if you're living rightly than asking yourself if you would be content if you died today. Now, just to get out of the way, obviously none of us wish to die today. Most do not wish to die today. But I think when you can when you can pose this question and you can say, I'd be okay, then that's how you know you're living right. And when you pose this question and you say, no, I mean, I haven't, I'm still, I still haven't done this. I still haven't quit my job yet and started pursuing the thing I wanted to pursue. I haven't lost the weight I told myself I would lose. I haven't quit the habits I told myself I would quit. I haven't built the habits that I told myself I would build. Then that is also very beneficial to show you. This is just an amazing practice to either show you you're on your right path or how to get on your right path. Because if you say no, for a long time, I thought about death a lot. I still think about death a lot, constructively, I believe. And one of my best practices. And I think, I know for a long time, I was not content. And it would always go back to the fact that I was still working the job that I did not like. I would say, I would not be content if today was my last day because I haven't quit my job yet. And to me, that's just a sign that I should quit my job. And I'm not saying that you can't live a life where you're on your right path working a job. You can't live a life where you're content if you have a job. There's nothing wrong with working. Working, I actually believe, is the pursuit of life. I mean, yeah, you should be able to just be and exist, but that isn't an excuse to be lazy. I think everyone should work very hard, no matter what it is they're doing. Some people will work hard with their body, some people will work hard with their mind, some people will work hard in ways that people will never understand. But one way or another, I think in this life, you have a duty to work extremely hard and push yourself to the limits of what you are capable of and be very disciplined in that. So I'm not trying to say that if you have a job, you can't die content. But it's the fact that if you are in a position where you do not need to work this job and you are still working it due to, fear of change, fear of risking it and it not working out, then that is where, if you were to meet your death and say you had a minute left, you would just, you'd beat yourself up because I never risked it. If I knew it would end like this, I would have just went for it. But we don't. We so often don't. We so often just let life pass us by. And I've never been so content with the idea of death. And I just believe it's because now I am walking a path truer to myself than ever. And I also want to make it clear that this isn't a, you have to have everything off your to-do list to die content, because you'll die with a to-do list full. You'll die with projects unfinished. You'll die with things unsaid. But the point is to die. I think dying content is more of you doing your best to get those things done. You know what I mean? If you are working very hard at a task that will take a long time and you meet your end, what is there to regret? You did your best with the time that you had allotted to you. There's nothing to regret. You were going to die with a full to do list, anyways. At least you died attempting to make progress in this area that you knew that you should. And those are the other things I think what we can ask ourselves. When we ask ourselves this question, whatever whatever is preventing you from being content with dying this moment, if it is within your control to make amends with it, do so. If it's, that person that you never apologized to, or the person that you've never made amends with, or if it's the things you never said to somebody, whatever it may be, if it is within your control, just go do it. I mean, why wait? Because if it's a regret now, it's going to be a regret then. And, why wait? Just, get it over with. I'm sure you'll feel a lot better. And if it's something that's not within your control, then you need to have some time alone, and you need to think about it, and you need to really come to grips with the fact that, say you wouldn't be content dying with because of potentially the people you leave behind, and the people you wouldn't be able to see grow, and things of that nature. I mean, just be grateful that they're wherever in your life to begin with, and be grateful that it is you and not them that is going. Because you can be a little selfish and be, you can be grateful that it's you and not them, and that you don't have to deal with the mourning that they will have to deal with. You can be a little selfish. And that's kind of what Boethius does in the Consultation of Philosophy. He he very good book. Read it if you haven't. But he reminds himself, because he's in exile, he's about to get executed, he's gonna die. Unjust um, reasons, essentially. And he reminds himself, because he's, battling with fortune, saying, this is insane that this is happening to a man of my, you know, caliber, essentially. A man as virtuous as me should not be going out in this nature. And he has a battle with Lady Fortune, with Lady Philosophy. And basically says, are you not grateful that it is you and not your wife, not your kids, not your father-in-law, not your, all these other people that he's so grateful are still alive? And he is so grateful that he is dying before them, and he is dying instead of them. So he just reminds himself that, and you can be a little selfish with it, but I just think it's so valuable to get to a position where you're content with the idea of potentially passing away. And, many people have talked about the practice of, waking up in the morning and looking in the mirror and asking yourself, if this was your last day on earth, would you be okay with that? And this is basically the same thing, just put in different words. Um, but I think that's very valuable. And I think sometimes you can say, no, because I'm doing this, but I'm doing this in service to that. And I think you have to learn to become content with that, because it is in service to something greater. You have to, for me to be in the position I'm in now, I had to work a job for, maybe not as long as I did, but for at least a little bit. And, while it was happening, I was, I wasn't, I've changed a lot, and I never used to think about death, so I can't really say for certain what I would have thought. But when I really started thinking about it, I was in a position where I didn't need to work the job anymore. So it was always the thing that would come into my head. No, I'm not content because I'm not taking a risk. I'm doing something I don't need to do for reasons that I don't need to be doing it. And yeah, I just feel more content with ever. Even though I'm still working very hard. I'm still I still struggle with a lot of things, and I still am trying, and I'm still, I wouldn't say lost, but I still need to remind myself to be patient a lot because, things just don't happen overnight. And you got to put in the long, hard hours that no one will ever see, no one will ever congratulate you for, but they will call you lucky one day for the things that you have and the knowledge that you have obtained. And you'll just have to sit there and smile and say, hey, I guess I am lucky. And that just is what it is. But even though I'm still going through tough times, I guess. I mean, not really, but I mean, mentally, everyone goes through tough times. Um, when I think about the fact of potentially dying, I'm in a far better place with being content with it than I was, say, 5 months ago. Far better place, far more content with my trajectory, with where I'm aiming than where I was aiming. And I think that can give you immense peace of mind when you recall it. Because at times, when you're walking, when you're taking risk and you're walking a path true to yourself, it can seem very scary. It can seem like you made the wrong turn. It can seem like you should have settled. It can seem like you should have played it safe. But then when you bring this call, when you recall this, I guess, thought experiment, and you're like, I would be more content dying now than if I was still in that position. That can give you the reminder, the hope, the light that you are doing that which you should be doing. And I mean, our whole life is in service to death. So pairing up pairing each and every one of our actions against death is not a bad idea. Because if it stands up to death, then it stands up to life. But if it doesn't stand up to death, then it doesn't stand up to life. And so often viewing it as dying having done this instead of living having done this, I think puts it in a different perspective. And it can help you say, no, I wouldn't want to die with that type of life. But you can say, I mean, that's not a bad life to live on the same things. And they both can be right, but that's for you to decide.